P6 Prelim paper 2023 for Nanhua Primary. This is paper 2. Okay, let's look at question 1. Total mass of two boys was 72.9 kg. The difference between the mass was 9.3 kg. What was the mass of the lighter boy? Okay, what we can do is can draw a model. Since we have the total and the difference. So this is for the heavier one and this is for the lighter one. The total is 72.9 and the difference is 9.3. So this is 9.3 kg. So you want to find the lighter one. First, we take 72.9 minus 9.3 to get the 2 units. Now take note, this is paper 2, you can use your calculators. So 63.6 divided by 2 to get 31.8, which is 1 unit. And that's also the mass of the lighter boy. Okay, then now let's look at question 2. Question 2, figure is formed by 5 identical equilateral triangles. Total perimeter is 135 cm. Sorry, the total perimeter of the 5 triangles is 135 cm. What is the perimeter of the figure? So 135 is not the perimeter of this figure, but the perimeter of 5 separate triangles. So one triangle itself, the perimeter would be 135 divided by 5, which is 27. Okay, so in one triangle, you have 3 sides. So one side of the triangle will be 27 divided by 3, since question said that they are equilateral triangles. So every side is 9 cm. How many sides are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 full sides. Then we have this part here, which will combine with this part here. Give us 7 sides. We know they are equal because from this point all the way to this point is like 2 sides, right? And then the overlapping part is 1 side. So whatever that is left in the perimeter is just 1 side, 1 more side. Okay, so 7 sides in total. 3 times 7, which is 63. So answer 63 cm. Okay, next. Question 3. Figure below, A and B are 2 points on a map. In this question, the C is being drawn out already. I think you're not supposed to have this on the diagram. But anyway, point A is north of point B, point C is east of B. So if it's east of B, then this is a 90 degrees. This is a C. And BAC is 50 degrees. So I think you're supposed to draw point C and then connect it and make sure that calculate using a protractor that BAC is 50 degrees. So the line is probably already drawn, which is not supposed to be there. So they say draw a triangle, which is, it should look like that. Okay, so line already drawn in this question. Okay, question 4. Printing machine prints 8 pages every 5 seconds. How many pages can it print in 10 minutes? Okay, so every 5 seconds, you can get 8 pages. So in 10 minutes, let's find out how many seconds are there. 1 minute, 60 seconds. 10 minutes will be 600 seconds. So we do grouping. How many 5 seconds? How many groups of 5 seconds are there? So 600 divided by 5, which is 120 groups. 120 groups of 8 pages. 120 times 8. which is 960. So answer 960 pages. Question 5, square grid shows the positions of A, B, C, D, E, and F. Which one of the points shown on the square grid is the south of C? So take note, the north is not in the usual direction. It's pointing this way now. If that's the north, then this is the south. Okay, so which one? It's F. All right, so F, point F. B, Jason stood at one of the points facing B. After he turned 45 degrees clockwise, he faced D. Which point was Jason at? 45 degrees clockwise. Okay, facing B, and then when he turned, he'll face F. So 45, this one you have to test. If it's A, 45 degrees would be here. So no, not F. A, B, D, if you're facing B, 45 would be here. So no, not F. If you're at E, facing B, 45 degrees. Hold on. Oh, 45 degrees clockwise, you'll face D. Okay, not F, face D. Okay, so if you're at E, you're facing B, 45 degrees, use the square grid to help you cut through the square. You will face D, okay? So from point E, if you're facing B first, 45 degrees clockwise. This way. Okay, you will face D. So answer is point E. He's at point E. All right, next question. Question number 6. 3 meters of fabric was cut into shorter pieces. Each piece was 2.5 meters, except for the last piece, which was shorter. How many not 2.5, but how many 2/5 meters meter pieces were there? So we have a total of 3 meters. Every piece was 2/5 meters. So we have to divide. 3 divide by 2/5. Keep, change, flip. You want to keep the first number, change the second sign to times, and then flip the last fraction. Split 2/5 to 5/2. Okay, so what we do now is 3 multiplied by 5 halves. 3 times 5, 15. So 15 halves, 15/2, which is 7.5. Okay, so how many pieces were there? There were at max 7 pieces. How about the last piece? The last piece is not half meter. This half represents half of a single piece. One single piece is 2/5 meters. So we are actually finding half of a 2/5 meter piece, which means you have to take half times 2/5. Okay, simplify, divide by 2. So you get 1/5. 1/5 meter is the answer. Question 7. In a hall, 70% of the children were boys. After 87 more children entered the hall, number of boys increased by 20%, and the number of girls increased by 50%. How many children were there in the hall in the end? Now, be careful when you have a lot of percentages in a question, because they can't be used interchangeably, as in this 70% is talking about like what is the proportion of all the children that were boys, right? Whereas this 20% is talking about an increase from an original amount. So you can't take 70 plus 20, okay? They're not referring to the same percentage. They are not referring to the same whole. The 100% is not the same thing. So you cannot do that. Okay, what you can do though is to change to fractions and then we use ratio to solve. Okay, so 70%, let's change all to fractions. 70% is 7/10. 20% is 1/5. 50% is half. Okay, so first, 7/10 were boys. Boys to girls, which means that girls will be 3/10. So 7 to 3. Now, the 87 more children entered the hall. Out of this 87, I don't know how many boys, how many girls. But I know the boys increased by 1/5. So I'll write this, boys plus 1/5. Okay, which means that you have 5 units. You add 1, and you end up with 6 units. For the girls increase by half. So we're at plus half, which means that you have 2 units, you add 1 unit, and you end up with 3 units. Next, ratio, we have to find common base. Okay, common base across these 3 ratios. So first common base is your boys at first. This is boys at first, 7 units. This is also boys at first, 5 units. So make it the same, 7 and 5, common multiple is 35. So you times 5, then you times 7. Okay. Then next, the girls at first, which is 15 units, but the girls at first here is 2 units. So we have to make it the same. Change it a common multiple of 15 and 2, which is 30. So again, you need to change this, which means you need to change this. Okay, so 30 times 15, this will be 45. All right, so you have 30, 30. This is 70, you need to change this to 70, because that's your common base. All right, common base, boys at first, common base, girls at first. They are all the same now. Now you can use the units across. What is 87? 87 is an increase in boys and girls, which is 14 plus 15 units. 29 units. 29 units is 87. So 1 unit is 3. How many children in the end? In the end is 84 units for the boys and 45 units for the girls. Add them up. 129 units is what we want to find. Okay, so 129 times 3, which is 387. So that's the total in the end. Okay, next question 8. In the figure here, AFB, ADB are triangles. A, B, C, and FEB and AED are straight lines. Okay, then we have 79, which is DEB. Then we have 85, which is DBC. Okay, find the value of DAB plus ADB. Okay, maybe let's DAB, this plus this plus EAF, okay, this plus AFE, this. Okay, so firstly, 79 is also over here, FEA. So angle FEA is also 79 degrees. So these two, EAF and AFE, right? They add up to 180 minus 79. So EAF plus AFE is 180 minus 79, which is 101 degrees. Okay, so those two are 101 degrees. Now we need to find the other two. So DBC, 85 is here. You need to find this ABD. Or DBA, ABD. 180 minus 85, which is 95. Okay, so this is 95. Then to find the other two, which is DAB and ADB, we take 180 minus 95. Okay, which is 85. Now add them up. 101 plus 85. 186 degrees. Okay, so answer 186 degrees. Question 9. Figure below is made up of two identical big quarter circles. So these are the two quarter circles and two identical smaller quarter circles. Radius of the big one is twice radius of the small one. Okay, find the perimeter in terms of pi. So let's take this as 1 unit. The radius of the small one is 1 unit. Then the radius of the big one will be 2 units. So across this 30 cm, we have 2, 1, and 2. Total 5 units. So 5 units is 30. 1 unit will be a 6. Then we want to find perimeter. So you need to find the arc of all these quarter circles. Then you add all the straight lines. Okay, so to find a small one, the arc of the small one, we need diameter, right? Okay, let's find diameter. Diameter of a small quadrant. Six times 2, because radius is 1 unit, radius is 6 cm, so 6 times 2. Then we also need diameter of the big quadrant, which is doubled, so 12 times 2. Or 6 times 4 also can. Okay, 24 cm. Next, let's find the one small quadrant arc. Small quadrant arc. So quadrant arc is like circumference but a quarter of it. So pi times 12 times 1/4. Okay, this will give us 3 pi. Then we want the big quadrant arc, which will be pi times 24 times 1/4. So 6 pi. Okay, so how many 3 pi's, how many 6 pi's do we have? 2 of each. 2 small quadrant arcs and 2 big quadrant arcs. Then what else do we need to add? We need to add the straight lines. Straight lines will be here, here, this, and this. Okay, so how many? This is 1 unit. 1 unit. Because this is 2 units, this is 1 unit, so this must be 1 unit. Okay, so 2, 4, and 6. 6 units. Straight lines, 6 units. So 6 times 6. Now we add them up. So 2 of the small ones, 2 small quadrant ups, 2 of the big ones, then plus 36. So total you have 6 pi, 12 pi, and a 36. 36 don't combine. You have 18 pi plus 36. Okay, so 18 pi plus 36 is the answer. 18 pi plus 36 is the answer for this question. And remember to write cm. Bracket the whole thing, then cm. Question 10. Average score for a mathematics test in a class of students was 80. Later was discovered that the score of one student was wrongly recorded as 48 when it should be 98 marks. After correcting the score, the average of the class increased to 82. How many students were there in this class? Okay, so let's compare when it's wrong and when it's correct. When it's wrongly recorded, which means that that student was recorded as a 48, right? The average was 80. Okay, 80. So everyone gets 80. Next, if it's correct instead, let's compare. It's correct, which means that if it's 98, then the average will be 82. So can you see that for what is the difference in the total? The difference in the total is just due to this difference, right? So 48 versus 98. The difference in total would be 98 minus 48, which is 50. How is this a 50 affecting the average score? Now the average score has increased, so the difference in average score has actually increased by 2. And since the total is actually, the difference in total is actually 50, right? So how many people are there in the class? So number of students would be, we take the 50, the difference, and divide by the change in every student, like the change in the average. Okay, so there must be 25 students in the class. Because 25 of them, everyone get extra 2, right? So 25 times 2, the difference is a 50, which is what we have here, difference of 50. Okay, next question. 11. Every week, Eileen saves $2M. Bala saves M plus 5. Carrie saves 3M minus 2. Find the average. Okay, in terms of M. To find average first, we need to find total. Total, we have 2M. We have M plus 5. We have 3M minus 2. So let's rearrange this. The sign will follow the number behind. So 2M plus M plus 3M, then plus 5 minus 2. 2M plus M plus 3M is 6M, plus 5 minus 2 is a plus 3. To find the average, we have to divide by 3. Okay? And this can be divided, this 6M plus 3 can be divided. You'll end up with 2M plus 1. So answer is 2M plus 1. Dollars, bracket the whole thing dollars. So find the average when M is 4. So instead of 2M plus 1, it's 2 times 4 plus 1, which is $9. Okay, the next part is interesting. So you need to tell, you need to state whether it's true, false, or not possible to tell. First one, Eiling's savings is less than the average. Eiling is 2M, right? So 2M is less than the average of, which is 2M plus 1. Is it true? Yes, definitely true. No matter what M is, 2M is always less than 2M plus 1. So true. Carrie saves the most money. Carrie is 3M minus 2. Is that necessarily the most out of all of them? So we're going to use some values to verify. So let's use 1. If M is 1, what happens? If M is 1, if M is 1, that's an equal sign. Then A will be $2, B will be $6, C will be $1. Okay, so A and B will have more than C. A and B actually have more than C. Okay, either A or B is more than C. Both of them are actually more than C. So, no, Carrie did not save the most money. But is it true otherwise? Yes, if M is, let's say, 10. If M is 10, what happens? Eiling will be 20. This will be 15. And this would be 30 minus 2, 28. So Carrie would have the most. So Carrie would be more than Eiling and Bala. Okay, so it can be true, it can be false. So we'll put not possible to tell. Okay, so we actually put in numbers to actually help us verify. Okay, next question number 12. Pie chart. Pie chart shows the favorite ball games of a group of students. So it's also represented in this bar graph here. What percentage of them chose soccer as their favorite ball game? Okay, so from here, the pie chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Basketball is missing from this bar graph. Okay, so part of the data. Basketball is 25%. So the rest must be 75%. Soccer, volleyball, tennis, table tennis, they must all make up 75%. Okay, so because 100 minus 25%, how do I know that this is 25%? Because this is, you see, 90 degrees. 90 degrees is quadrant, right? Quadrant means a quarter. And a quarter means 25%. So basketball, 25%. Everything else, 75%. So everything else, 75%. What percentage chose soccer? Soccer here. You can say like soccer is twice, if you look at this, twice, right? Twice of volleyball, tennis, table tennis. So we can say soccer is 2 units. Soccer is 120, which is 2 units. Then everything else is 60. The 1 unit. 60, 1 unit. So your 75% is made up of 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 units. Soccer is 2 units. So 2 out of 5 times 75%, which is 30%. So the soccer is actually 30% of the students. How many students were there in the group? If 30% is 120, then find 100% to find the total. Okay, I'm not going to find 1%. Let's find 10%, then 100%. So this divide by 3, this times 10. 120 divided by 3, which is 40, then 40 times 10, which is 400. So answer, 400 students. Okay, question 13. Tim had 2/3 as much money as Peter. After Tim received $120 from his mother and Peter used $120, Tim had twice as much as Peter. How much did Tim have at first? Okay, let's do before change after. Tim to Peter. Tim is 2 units, Peter is 3 units. Then Tim received. So Tim plus 120. Peter used, so Peter minus 120. In the end, Tim had twice of Peter, so 2 to 1. What doesn't change? Now, if you look at the change that has happened, right, which is plus 120 minus 120, it is the total that doesn't change because you add and minus off the same thing. So total is the common base. Total at first 5 units. Total in the end is 3 units. Since we know that the total is supposed to be the same, that is your common base, we find the common multiple of 5 and 3, which is 15. So 6, 9, 15. This is also 15. So you have to multiply by 5, 10, 5, 15. Figure out what is 120. 120, if you look at Tim, is an increase from 6 to 10 units. So 10u minus 6u, which is 4 units. 4 units is 120. So 1 unit will be 30. How much did Tim have at first? Tim at first is 6 units. So 6 units is 6 times 30. Okay, so answer 180. 180 is what Tim have at first. If you were to use 120 using Peter, right, you get the same thing because Peter decreased from 9 units to 5 units, which is also 4 units. So 4 units is 120. All right, now let's look at question 14. Patterns. Look at the figure below. They're made up of shaded tiles and plain tiles. There are 19 shaded tiles in a figure. What is the figure number? Okay, so what is the pattern for the shaded figure? Let's look at the first one. Shaded, if you count, it's 3, 6, 7, 4 plus 4, 8, 9, 10. And this is 5, 5, so 10, 11, 12, 13, 13. So if you notice, it always increases by 3. So we use interval concept. If there are 19 shaded, right? First, we take 19, minus away, because it starts off at 7, so you need to take away the first pattern, minus 7, which is the 12. 12 is made up of all the plus 3s. So every plus 3 is called an interval. Now, how many intervals are there? So we take 12, divide by 3. Because 12 is all the plus 3s. So there are 4 intervals. Now from interval number of intervals to figure number, we have to add 1. because initially we took away pattern one's number, right? So you need to add back 1 to get the figure number. So 4 plus 1. Okay, that would be figure 5. Figure number 5. What is the total number of shaded and plain tiles in figure 18? Okay, the total, let me use another color. Total number of shaded and plain, so basically the whole figure, right? It forms a square. So the first one is a 3 times 3. Figure 2 is a 4 times 4. Figure 5 is 5 times 5. So total number of tiles in figure 18 is not 18 times 18 because figure 1 is not 1 times 1. Figure 1 is 3 times 2, 3 times 3. Figure 2 is not 2 times 2, but 4 times 4. You notice the number that you multiply is actually 2 bigger than the figure number. So you have to take 18 plus 2 first, which is 20. Then you take 20 times 20. Okay, so answer 400. Okay, so what percentage of this number of tiles in figure 18, which is the 400, are shaded tiles? So let's go back to the interval concept. Shaded tiles in figure 18. If you have figure number 18, the number of intervals will be 1 less. So 18 minus 1, which is 17. So 17 intervals. Every interval will be plus 3. So 17 intervals will be 17 times 3, which is 51. Right? All the intervals will give you 51. But remember to add back figure 1, which has 7 shaded tiles. So this is the number of tiles. I add back 7. Not add 1, but add 7. So this is the number of shaded. So what percentage of the total are shaded? Then we take 58 out of the 400, which we have found in part B. Then times 100%. So we get 14.5%. Okay, so answer 14.5% for the shaded tiles in figure 18. Question 15. Figure below is made up of a square, a quarter circle, and a semicircle. Area of a square is 196. Find the area of shaded parts. Okay. So actually the shaded parts, right? If you were to cut this diagram this way, this one can be shifted here. So can you see that this is actually half a petal, and then the shaded part is actually half of that half petal. Okay, let's find one side of the square first. So one side of the square, 196 is 14 times 14. So this is 14. I want to find area of the quadrant. Okay, this is the quadrant. The area of quadrant, which is 1/4, times pi, which is 3.14, times radius. So I get 153.86. Then next, I want to take away the triangle, which is this. So half the area of triangle, Half times 14 times 14. Which is 98. Now take the quadrant minus away the triangle to get your half petal. Quadrant 153.86, then minus away the triangle, minus 86, 88, 98, which is 55.86. Then halve it. Okay, we just want half of that. One half of this half petal. So half. So let's find half of that, and that's the answer. So the shaded area is 55.86 divided by 2. 27.93. Square cm. Okay, next question, 16. Empty rectangular tank measuring 35, 20 by 50 cm is being filled with water from tap A at a rate of 700 ml per minute. And then tap B drains at the 0.5 liters per minute. Okay, to be consistent, let's use ml, so 500 ml per minute. Okay, so tap A was turned on 6 minutes before tap B. So let's find water after 6 minutes, which is just from tap A. So just 700 times 6. So this is in ml. So if you leave it in ml is 4,200. If you leave it in liters, it's 4.2 liters. B, how long will it take for 60% of the tank to be filled? Okay, let's find out what 60% of the tank. Let's find out the volume that you need to fill first. 35 times 20 times 50 times 60%. So the volume to fill be 60%. So 60 over 100 times 35 times 20 times 50. Which is 21,000. That's the volume we want to fill. Then remember earlier on in that 6 minutes, there was already 4,200 filled, right? So the remaining volume to fill will be 21,000. Oops. So 21,000 minus 4,200. That will give us 16,800 to be filled. And this time is tab A and B turned on together. So tab A actually fills more than tab B, than what tab B drains. So there's actually, there will be an increase in volume. But how much is the increase? Not 700, but because 500 is always draining out, right? So it's 700 minus 500. So every minute, we have 700 minus 500. 200 filling the tank. So how long will it take to fill up this 16,800? So 16,800 divided by 200 will give us 84. And that is in minutes. So remember the 6 minutes earlier, we have to add it. So 84 minutes plus 6 minutes. Okay, this will give us 90 minutes, which if you convert to, you can write your answer as 90 minutes, or you can write 1 hour 30 minutes. Okay, so 1 hour 30 minutes. Or 90 minutes. So this one will be 4.2 liters. Okay, question 17. Alice was given the same amount of pocket money every day. So this line graph shows the amount of money she had left. Okay, not what she spent, but what she's left with. So which day did she spend the most? Whatever, because every day is the same, right? Like what she gets is the same. If you want to find what she spent the most, then that will leave her with the least amount of money. So the least amount of money is Tuesday. Okay, so spent most, saved least, or left the least. Okay, so what percentage decrease? What is the percentage decrease in the amount of money left on Thursday from Wednesday? So we're looking at from Wednesday to Thursday. What is this percentage decrease? Okay, the actual amount of money is not given, but let's use units instead. So this 0 units. And let's take this as 5 units, 10 units, 15 units, 20 units. Okay, so let's list down everything first. Okay, Monday will be 12 units. Tuesday is 8 units. Wednesday, 20. Thursday, 18. Friday, 10 units. So percentage decrease from Wednesday to Thursday. Wednesday to Thursday, there's a drop of 2 units. So percentage decrease is decrease over original. Original is Wednesday. Then times 100%. Okay, so 2 over 20 is 1 over 10. 1 over 10 times 10 times 100% gives us 10%. So percentage decrease is 10% from Wednesday to Thursday. Part C, Alice had $1.60 less of the pocket money left on Friday compared to Thursday. So what is the total amount left for the 5 days? Okay, so $1.60 is actually the difference between these two, which is 8 units. So 8 units is the difference. 8 units is 160 or 1.6. And 1 unit, you have to divide by 8, which is 0.2. Now we want to find the total left for the 5 days. Total left for the 5 days. Add up all the units. So 12 units, 8 units, 20 units, 18 units, and 10 units. This will be 68 units. Okay, so this is what we want to find, 68 units. So 68 times 0.2, which is 13.6. So answer, $13.60. Okay, so that's the answer for the last question. So that's all for this paper 2023 prelim for Nanhua paper 2.